Hi, Hardin County. We're back. It is August 6th, Tuesday, and we had a pretty fun commissioner meeting today. Of course, they approved the minutes from last week. They have a reimbursement for the annex for July, ditch maintenance, release of funds for JFS for the PCSA expenditures. Not sure on all these things. They had additional appropriations for the second half of the real estate settlement. Again, not sure. I'm sure I didn't go back to the office today to look at the meeting notes from and the things that they approved today. So I may get more clarification for that on Thursday. But although some of these things, unless you dig into them and go back to the auditor and ask, when they move appropriations from one to another, they don't always tell you what it's for, and they don't tell you what the account numbers stand for. And so it takes a lot of additional work to kind of dig in to see what was actually done in those agreements. So they approved the Reed Road install, so they had opened those bids, so they approved those bids. They had a reallocation for the dispatch payroll. They had a lot of things that they signed today, which again, they don't let you see those signed documents in the office, which I'm not sure why that is. Sometimes they say they're not the originating author of that document. So like when they sign the airport agreement, you have to go to the airport board, people do a public records request to see that contract. You got to jump through a lot of hoops. Or I feel like they could just make that accessible since it's right there and I could look at it if I have any questions, but that's not how they do it. And that's their decision. So they had, and I'm not sure on all this, if it's one or more signatures, but they had a co-sponsorship with the FFA agreement, has something to do with the airport authority. I think you'll have to watch the longer meeting to see if you know about, other aspects of this. You might be able to pick up what she's talking about without seeing the actual documents. It's hard for me to discern one thing from the next. So whether that's part of the airport authority agreement that they signed where they're showing joint ownership, or if those are separate, I'm not sure. They other meetings, they had talked about the CHIP housing and other housing mortgages with Mark Dahl. So they are signing the satisfaction of mortgage for J. Rowe, B. Witt, and Lawrence. So those will be done and off the books here soon. Well, they'll still be on the books because they prorated the mortgages, but they're kind of wrapping it up. Like one of the mortgages, I think, was had a legal issue, and so it was tied up for a couple years. It's now been released and they can kind of move through the process. So if I remember right, they had a bid opening for the repair of the chiller out there at Simon Kenton. And Tori had explained that it was just kind of administrative error that she didn't realize. They thought it was all done and approved, but Garmin Miller is waiting for just the one signature to actually repair the chiller. So they got that ball rolling. They had JFS procurement plan that they approved. The Scioto Ridge Solar has been approved. There was a bit of discussion about Sharon Houston she thought they had 3 copiers, but they only have 2, and one of them's kind of old, and they were looking at moving one of those copiers over to the LEPC, and because they may be in need of one, and so they're going to work out that agreement. They also brought up a little bit later that the basement remodel that Richard is talking about, I think came out to $27,000 and some change. And so I think they approved that, or maybe that will show up on Thursday. And they also purchased 8 Christmas bows for the courthouse, which they think they said the other ones they thought were many, many years old. And so they're hoping that these ones would last just as long as before. And I'm not sure on the amount, if it was, I think it was $1,400 for those bows. But I could be wrong. Go back again, listen to the meeting notes. So the other thing, so basically they did their pending items, their paperwork items, and then we went out to Simon Kenton and did a tour. So that was pretty interesting. We got to see the school. They didn't have a lot of it set up because the floors had just been redone, and but we got to walk through it and see their playground updates, which are very cool. And then we went over to the old Harco building, which they're kind of turning into county storage. It doesn't sound like they have a real good hard plan for there, but they are starting to build shelves, and they will work out. There's a lot of discussion in the longer video about how it's going to be sectioned off and what it's going to be used for, but nothing major. I did ask about the health department moving to that facility, because I know they're pretty cramped where they're at, and was informed that they had offered the North Annex where the soil and water is, and the health department had refused that. And so we don't really know why, but that was a question. And then as a bonus, I walked around the side of the old Harco building there, and in the back is the Ohio State Master Gardener's Friendship Garden, which I had never been to. And so I walked around a tour of all that and kind of showed you what's back there. It's massive and beautiful, and so many fun things out there. So check it out. It's open April 1st through November 1st. And it's a very quiet, nice little area back there. So that's kind of the meeting today. It's kind of fun, nothing major. And we'll come back for Thursday and see what other things are happening in Hardin County. Thank you.